So SailPoint is all about understanding the object model. So what are all the objects available and what is that object is meant for, how the objects are connected to each other. If you understand that, and of course a little core Java basics, what we discussed is enough. Some more you need, couple of things, but those are no big deal if you can understand what we have discussed so far, those concepts. Programming is not about quantity, it's quality. How much you learn. For example, I've learned Java a lot. I practiced core Java a lot, but I have written programming in every language that exists in the world, you know. So I can give an example. I was looking at one one script in PowerShell for the first time. I know basics in PowerShell, but never been an expert. So I had to understand what that scripting was, but I didn't have time for that. I needed to deploy in production right away. So I looked into the script. I understood. Yeah, so I had to understand and I had to deploy the code by writing for different logics. So I understood the existing sample code and I have started writing coding in different requirements using the same modules and same language. How did I do that? It's very simple. If you know any programming language, if you know basics in that, if you have good amount of expertise over that, you can do pretty much in any language. Okay, so do not ever question that I learn core Java only. I know core Java only. I used to hear this even from my seniors. I used to laugh. Um, I know core Java. I never written programming in PowerShell. Come on, it doesn't make any sense. Syntax is different. Languages are same. You know, the core concepts are same. So we discussed about conditions, if condition or ternary operator. It's same in every language. Syntax is different, right? Or for you to understand the language, what you speak or I speak may be different, but what we do speak is same. The language, the words, the grammar is different, right? But what we speak is same. Pretty much every day we speak about same stuff in your language with your family or with my family, the same stuff. Everyone, when you make a call, you say, hi, how are you only. In different language, you will have not ask something else, right? It's everywhere same. Well, programming is also same stuff. Syntax is different. The core concepts are same. The coding what you write also same thing. Okay, so don't have this question like, hey, I know core Java only, or I know Python only, I do not know this language. That's not the valid case. Okay, there might be some different concepts in different languages that doesn't exist, but you already know the programming. Based on your current knowledge, you will be able to pull everything. Okay, so again, I'm repeating, it's not about quantity, it's about quality of learning. Second, if you can write programming for some logics, you can write for other logics as well. There is nothing much. And thanks to generative AI in this context, you do not need to worry about it. Earlier, we used to Google it. So it was not easy, but now generative AI, it generates the logic for any requirement you ask. Okay, so keep that in mind. Coming to identity IQ or even identity now, it's all about understanding the objects. I told you everything in SailPoint is an object. So last session we discussed about identity object, and this session we will discuss about application and link object. What are those? So identity, what is an identity? Identity is employee in an organization, right? So if you understand what is identity and access management, it's very easy for you to do the stuff, right? So identity and access management is nothing but managing employees, their data, and their access in any organization. Okay, so for example, even if you are a student, if you are not into identity and access management, imagine like uh, if you want to, you know, um, let's say that you need to enter the organization premises. You need to have access card, right? So we swipe the access card, the doors will open and we enter inside the office, right? So that's an application. Who will provide access to that, uh, you know, or who will provide you access card, right? So who enables access for that card so that when you swipe that card, it will work. Second, of course, it's very important thing. Every month you need to receive the salary, right? How do you think you will receive the salary? When you enter your bank details, automatically your salary will be credited. So you need an application where you enter your bank details. We call it as payroll application. Next, you need to submit your timesheet saying that, hey, I came to office or I took leave on this day. So that's a timesheet application. There you need access so that you can fill the data, right? Like this, are pretty much like when you join the organization, we have to create a Microsoft 365 account or Google Workspace account or any other ecosystem if you are using. I believe predominantly world using either Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace. IBM uses their own. I don't know about Apple, what they use, never heard of it. I believe it's Microsoft 365. If not, they will have their own internal uh, Office applications, right? So if you talk about Microsoft 365, in order to receive email communications, we need to get you an email address, right? And the Teams so that you can have a discussion through chat, right? For your in your organization with your team members. We cannot use your Gmail to send the emails. That's not safe, right? Why? First of all, Gmail is not safe. Since it is free of cost, you cannot expect protection there. Second, we cannot send our office emails to your personal mail. We should keep that in organization network only, right? So like this, the basic access you need so that you can start working for an organization. So who do you think provide all this access? We provide as an IAM professionals. That is our job. If you understand this very well, it's easy for you to build the foundation for your either administrative or development, both of them. Okay, so now coming to the development. So as we discussed, what is identity and access management? Managing employees and their access, their data and their access on different applications. So we have seen about identity. Now let's look into what is application and what is link object. So application is nothing but we basically categorize into two sets of applications: authoritative and target applications. Authoritative is nothing but source of truth. So what is the uh, process? Let's say when you join an organization, what is the first step, or whom do you report to? Of course, HR. Recruiters will be gathering your details. HR recruiter. So new employee, HR recruiter. Most of the organization they have HR application where you fill the data, and then we receive to SailPoint or any other IAM tool. Okay, so I believe at least you might have I believe all of you are working professionals. If you are not, at least you know that when you attend the interview, they'll ask you to fill the details, right? So some organizations, after getting selected, they will send an email that, hey, congratulations, this is your offer letter, or sometimes before accepting offer letter itself. It depends, before attending the interview or after getting selected or after accepting offer letter. So different phases of the uh, interview process, they will ask you to fill your details, right? So whatever may be the phase, there will be an application where you fill your personal details. Okay, so most of the organizations, they'll ask you to fill the details, after getting or after you accept the offer letter, right? So you fill your details. So there is a HR application. So highly used HR applications are success factors from SAP, Workday. It's a company name. It's also HR application. Is to use PeopleSoft, HCM from Oracle. These are highly used applications in the world. First two, success factors and Workday, are highly used. These two are the HR applications. Okay, so you fill the data, whatever I mean, about your personal stuff, not exactly personal. What I mean is like your first name, last name, um, your location, address, mobile number, your personal mail, all these kind of details, right? There are some company related data which will be generated for you, like employee ID that we generate, right? Whenever you are onboarded to the organization, or when you accept the offer letter, when your data is filled, an employee ID will be generated for you, right? So personal data by from by employee. Some data we generate at HR side, like employee ID, then email ID, then who is your manager, what is your department, your working location, like these attributes. Okay, so obviously you will be having some employee ID, and then email ID we need to generate. We need to know who is your manager, and then which department you are going to be worked, and your working location, which location you are working on, and what is your job title or designation, right? Everyone has a job title. So what is your designation in the organization, right? So these kind of attributes, it will be, these are personal data, your data. This is organization data. Okay, this is yours, never changes. Of course, you can change your last name if you want to. And here, this data we generated. Employee ID never changes once it is generated. Email address, mostly not, it won't change unless you ask for it. Let's say a woman employee, when once she get married, if she wants to change her last name. Okay, manager might change because your manager might leave the organization and come back. Department, it's up to you. I mean, if you are moving from one department to another department, working location, if you get relocated to different locations, title, you get promoted, right? So these data managed by organization. Okay, so now all this data is in HR system. Sometimes employee ID, email ID might be generated at the HR side. Sometimes employee ID will be generated at HR side. Sometimes email address also generated at HR side. Sometimes not. So we in IZA SailPoint, we generate them. Okay, so since it depends on the organization structure or organization requirements, do not take it for granted that employee ID will be generated by HR system. No. Okay. So it depends on the people, right? Um, I've seen a lot of things. So there are some set of people. It's never about knowing, or it's never about learnings or knowledge. It's all about ability to explore. Sometimes I've seen people don't want to know what is happening outside the world, and they they use what they would think is correct. They don't look at organizations, not organization. I mean the industry standards. That's very bad, right? So anyway, there are different standards followed. We can discuss that. So now this is the HR application where the data is there, and we read the data from HR application to SailPoint. So we need to have identities, right? How do you create identities? Cannot create manually. That's not the purpose of our job, to automate this. Okay. So what is the phase of an employee? We call it as JML as well. So joiner, mover, leaver. So joiner, as the name indicates, when you join the organization. Okay. Mover, like moving from one location to another location, from one manager to another manager, one department to another department. When you get promoted, so you change the job title. So anything, it's a movement in your data. Leaver, when you leave the organization. Rehire is there, like let's say if you come back, so you left the organization and you join back, that's rehire. Okay, so nowadays in the industry, there is no rehire. There is no rehire in the current market. If you see anywhere rehire is still there, that's really old process. So rehire is considered as a new joiner. Okay, so you don't need to debate about it whether rehire should be separate or rehire should be considered joiner. That's a different topic. Okay, so this is the phases of an employee or life cycle of an employee. Employee join the organization, they work, moving to different places, departments, designations. And then one day everyone has to leave the organization. No one is going to be there forever. Okay. So this is the phase. How do you know? I mean, all these things cannot be manual. See, joiner is only once. If I talk about one employee, okay. So if I talk about one employee, joining is only once. Because when you join the organization, I need to create your identity in HR system or in SailPoint, right? But more is a lot more, it's a lot of things. It's not just one. Many times the data will change for mover. Lever is also only once, but mover, it's more than once. Now imagine how many employees you have: 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, right? So Salesforce, AWS, not Salesforce, AWS has largest employees in the world. They are cutting down. That's why you have seen layoffs. So how can I manage? When I joined my first job, there were thousands of employees in the same day joining. They get like 10,000 employees join in same day. How are you going to create the data? You think it's possible for you to create manually? How long it will take for you to create 10,000 employees, 10,000 identities, either in HR application or even in SailPoint? If you are going with manually, do you think 10,000 employees creation is possible? No way, not at all possible. I really wish to talk to some seniors, how it was maybe 20 years back, how they used to manage this identity and access management, right? If they have a lot of employees. Okay, so it's not going to be possible. That's why how the system works is, as I said, when you join an organization, or when you accept the offer letter before joining, before your first day in the organization, HR, you will have a recruiter, right? HR will be there. Of course, it's an automated process. Even 10,000 employees attending the interview, they will send emails. It takes time though, but still, they will ask you to fill the data, right? Of course, it's a hassle. It's not easy process for arranging interviews for 10,000 employees and managing them. It's hectic process for them. Uh, and let them give more strength and prayers for them. So leaving that interview process apart, all these 10,000 employees, when they accept the offer letter, they will fill their data in HR application. So this HR application we call it as source of truth or authoritative application or HR application. So any I think these three are the only terminologies used in the industry. So don't think otherwise, all are same. Sometimes you hear it as source of truth, sometimes authoritative application, sometimes HR application, all are same. Okay. So we SailPoint, we cannot create identities manually. No way. So if I go to SailPoint, if you look here, so basically identity and access management. So we are going to manage data of identity. We are going to manage access of an identity. If you do not have identity, what are you going to manage, right? So doesn't make any sense. So first you need to have identities, then only you can apply whatever the management you want to, correct? So how do you get the identities into SailPoint? That's what you need to understand first. Okay, so identity. So if I leave access management apart, so SailPoint, or what we do is IGA, identity and governance, identity governance and administration, right? So leave about governance, leave about administration, what you are going to do, but that's an identity. So if you do not have an identity at all, what are you going to apply? Correct. So we need to have identity. So how do you get identities into SailPoint or any other IGA tool? Okay, other competitors in the market, right? So if you'll log in, I mean access the login page of SailPoint, you will see self registration. Ooh, it's taking time to log out. So there are, believe you all have SailPoint with you. When you log in, this is what you see, but there is no self-registration option by default. You can enable it. If I remember correctly, enable self-service registration, save. So if you go to global gear icon, this we call it as gear icon, go to lifecycle manager. Here you see self-registration page, just search for self. You will find the option, create identity options. If you enable self-service registration, and I'll log out again, you see new user registration. If you click on that, it will ask you to enter the data. Okay, so this form also you can customize. This is an out of the box. SailPoint developed this form. If you want, you can customize this form as well. Now you need to enter the data like username. It should be unique. First name, last name, email, password. You can register. You can create the identity like this. Okay, so but who can enter the data? What if I write my name as Tom Cruise here? What if I create 100 users like that? Someone has to verify, right? Is there any guarantee that if I enable self-registration, uh, anyone in my organization Or in case if my SailPoint is a public URL. Public means you can access this URL in the internet. Okay, so it depends. SailPoint identity now is a cloud, so it is accessible anywhere in the world by default, unless your organization restricted that it should not be accessible outside. When it comes to SailPoint Identity IQ, it's an on-premise application. It depends on the organization whether they want to allow it to access outside. Mostly no. Identity IQ you cannot access outside your organization. They will not enable it. It's an inside our on-premise application. They will not. Okay. So in case if it is accessible outside internet, if anyone can access this, so people will, attackers or hackers, whatever the name you call them, so they will be disturbing your organization intentionally. They will keep creating new users. Okay, so let us say that we will not enable this for public. SailPoint IAQ is not accessible in the internet. Fine, good. Then, so it is accessible inside the organization. Now, anyone in the organization can access login URL and they'll click on new user registration and they will enter the details. Do you know who accessed this? No. I mean, you can track it down, like who is accessing what, which URL they're accessing. Also, you can track it down, but it's not easy, right? Unnecessary work. So they will enter the data whatever they want to. Do you think it is correct data? No, I'll enter as Tom Cruise. Who is stopping me? So once I enter this data, by default identity will be created, or you can change the process as once this identity is created like this, it can go to HR approval. They will validate the data, and then they will click approve. Then identity will be created. But it's a lot of process for them, right? Approving or verifying all the data, not easy. Okay. Second way is you can go to this. We call it as quick links. You see this three lines icon, or we call it as hamburger. Why ham? Call it as a burger? No, they call it as hamburger icon. Always ham there. So if you click this, it's called as quick links. Quick link is the terminology in SailPoint. I'll write it down. Quick links. People call it as hamburger icon. Okay, so when you click on this, you see manage identity and create identity. So you see create identity. This is better than self-registration because at least when you log in only, you can access this page. Since you logged in, we know who submitted this form. Okay, so you can enter the data here also if you want to create the identities. This is second way. But again, I'm repeating how many identities you can create like this. Okay, I don't want to waste my employees' time like this. So I don't want this manual process. So third way is I'm gonna read the data from HR application because whenever this is the process, right? Every one of us know. You do not need to be an IAM professional. You just know about how the corporate world works. That's it. Wherever it is, we go for interview, we fill the details. Once you accept the offer letter, you join the organization. So somewhere you have to fill your details. That's a HR application. So that's HR people will be there. They will verify your data. If I type my name as Tom Cruise, come on, no way. They'll ask like, hey, show your proof. In India, it's very strict process. Even if I want to change the last name, I believe for women when they get married, they change their last name. I believe they'll ask for marriage certificate. I believe at that time. I did change couple of times my names, like, and it's not proper. I wanted to short my name. It's very big name. My name is the 4 words, 26 letters. So I wanted to shorten. So they ask for a proof every time. Foreign countries, it's different. I work in Europe, so here they will not bother about it, proofs and everything. They trust a lot. So preferred name is different. What is your actual name is different. right? So even for that, when you are entering the data for the first time, you need to upload your passport or some identification, so that they will verify your data. Okay, it's not like blindly they are accepting your data. They have to verify your data. That is the process. So the data, whatever is there in HR system, it is correct, because it's not by default the data will be created. They verify your data with your proofs. That is why we call it as source of truth. Okay, so SailPoint as a SailPoint professional, it's not your responsibility to validate the data. It is HR's responsibility. That's why we call it as source of truth or authoritative application. Okay, so we rely on data from SailPoint. So we automatically create identities. How? One, self registration. Second, create identity, quick link. Third, application onboarding. What is application onboarding? What if we read the data from HR system and automatically create identities by reading the data from this HR application? Let's see, that is what application onboarding is. So what will happen when you onboard an application? So when you onboard an application, we read the data, or I can quickly explain you in IAQ if you're new to IAQ. So what we do is, last time I have told you that I do not have any identities in my SailPoint, right? So I have created a lot of data for your the demo, that the training purpose. I'll give those things as well. If you need, you can create in your system, your SailPoint IAQ as well. So if I go to my identity warehouse, I created 1,000 identities. I have sample data for what 50,000 users, but no need, right? 50,000. So I've created 1,000 users. I believe that is more than enough for practice. So how did I create this? So I connected to my database. If I go to applications, application definition, I've created two applications, HRMS, HR management system. Okay, so this is an authoritative application. If I open this application, I marked it as authoritative. So it's very simple to create applications. I mean, the complicated stuff will be there, but we do not need to go that level. If you do not know how to do an onboarding an application, that's a different topic. Maybe you can learn in a different session, but we need to focus on development here. So if you go to configuration, I just enter the details to connect to the database, and these are the accounts. So whenever I mean, it's all about applications here. Even creating identities also from the application, which is HR application. Okay, so when you connect to the application, once you are when you connect to the application, you read the data, right? So there are employee records, right? Or the data is in application, right? So this record, we call it as account. We call, hey, do you have bank account? Bank is the application. You have a record there. That's an account we call. Do you have Amazon account? Do you have Netflix account? Right? In India, I do not know now, it's a different situation, but a couple of years back. So one person used to buy Netflix or Amazon Prime. The credentials used to be, shared among the friends. Yeah, sharing is caring. So we call like this, or we ask like this, hey, do you have Netflix account? All of us, right? In a web applications, we call, hey, do you have account in that application or this application? So yeah, that's an account you have in an application. So we also refer it as account here. In a business terminology, in technical terminology, we call it as a link object. Okay, so business terminology is account. Similarly, identity. We don't call identity unless you are a professional business people. They can call it as an employee. Employee is the business terminology, identity is the technical terminology. Uh, Application is same, business and technical both are same, whereas account is the business terminology. The respective technical terminology is link object. You need to know this link. Okay, so when we read the data from an application, we get accounts. These all are accounts. Okay, so how did I create identities? So how will I read the data in SailPoint Identity IQ or IdentNow, both places? We have task, account aggregation task. So I've created a task in IdentNow. You do not need to create the task by default. It will be there when you create an application. So when I run this task, it will read the data from the HR application. So it executed 1,000 accounts. So in similarly, I have another application, Netflix. This is also point. I have sample data in my database, but this is not a HR application. This is a target application or business application. So what is the difference between HR application and target applications is a HR application, we create identities from it. Target application, we do not create identities because it's not HR system, right? Netflix is not a HR system. It's a business application you need to manage for your employees. So there is an option here. If you see, only create links if they can be correlated to an existing identity. So link, what did I say? Account. Link is nothing but account. So if we look at this option, only create links if they can be correlated to an existing identity. So it's not going to create a new identity. This link will be connected. Correlation means connecting to an identity. Okay, example. So if I go to Netflix application, I have these many accounts. This account belongs to this identity. How we will map it using some common identity attributes by using email address or employee ID something. Okay, if I look at this user, I know employee ID of the user and I know email of the user. By using this, I am going to find it out which employee is this. Okay, so I am connecting this account to an employee, but I'm not creating identity for this. So this is a target application, not a HR application. So how do you differentiate that? When you enable this option, it's a target application. When you do not enable, this is a HR application. If I go back to my HR aggregation task, if you look at here, the option is not selected. Since the option is not selected, it creates identities. So please remember this if you are working in Identity IQ. If you are not, what can I say, enable this option, you'll have lot of identities created. Just in a single, just you missed a single checkbox. Every application, it will be creating identities, duplicate identities. It's not easy to clean up the data. Okay, so I didn't know it's way better. It's not depending on single clear, checkbox. Obviously, we will forget. Not just you. I will also forget when I'm in bad mode or when I'm rushing the things. I might forget this option even. And if I run this, that's it. Yes, Harish.
Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. So the question is, okay, so how do we, in a real-time scenario, right? Okay,
Mm,
so you showed me a page where users can enter the details. That's one
mm-hmm.
method, or otherwise they can pick the details. The onboarding can happen from the HR database.
Correct.
So what is the real-time or secured way of implementing that? Is it picking up from the HR system?
Yes. Always.
Okay.
We rely on HR system. Because entering the data, there are places where you enter the data manually, but that's also will be gone. I'll give you an example, but 99% you would depend on HR system, all the employees. Sometimes, let's say that your organization is having um, your organization has a supplier, solution provider, a consulting company. Okay, let's say XYZ company you are taking resources from. They do not need to be in HR system. So this quick link, we do not use this out of the box quick link. We can create a custom quick link. That custom quick link can be managed only by the manager. I can give an example. Let's say um, I was working in Accenture, working for a client. So that client, they didn't want to have, I mean, how many we were supporting, like a couple of people, like 5 people we used to, we were working for that client in SailPoint IAQ project. Then we 5 people were not there in HR database, their database, client database. So they didn't want to establish that process. So what they did was they created a custom quick link, because this is not a better quick link. They created a custom quick link. So in that custom quick link, that is visible and controlled by a client manager, my manager from the client. So whenever someone join, or whenever someone is onboarded to that client, say that, hey, this guy will be working for you from now onwards. So that manager gather the data and then enter the data here in the quick link, and they create identity. Okay, that's the only manual process. That's no big deal, because what, only couple of people, right? 5 people is no big deal, right? But nowadays in the current generation, current AI world, right? It's not like that. I cannot generalize and comment like that everywhere it is, but majority of the places I've seen, everyone, whether it's a contractor or freelancer or a vendor, doesn't matter which type of employee it is, all of them will be there in client or organization database. Internal employees, outsiders like externals, contractors, freelancers, everyone will be in the database only. Some organization, they will have different HR application, one for employees, another one for non-employees. Some will have same database, same application only, like success factor, where every kind of employees will be there. Okay, and then we read the data from HR application to create identities automatically in the system. That is the real time. That is what is the practice. I just told you that there are options creating manually just for your knowledge purpose, but that is not used in real time. Yes. Any other questions here, Harish?
So, yeah, the question on the same topic here, if you're thinking of okay, self-service portal, right? Or where users
Mm-hmm.
can, but that's not the real-time implementation. I'm just a thought here. Okay, these are identities are like, okay, you say that it's like if anybody get access to those identities, like, okay, they can go into the any part of the organization, right? Okay, so I was thinking, okay, if the self-service portal is not the recommended way, but you said, okay, there is a method we can do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this pages, right? This pages or bulk import or this sale point, this is exposed to the internet or just it's completely internal.
That depends on your organization, how they build the application, right?
Okay, is it what's your recommendation? Do we need because it's an identity? Okay, what's your recommendation on it? Is it keeping completely in the
First,
intranet or
yeah, okay. If you ask me, my recommendation, identity IQ, do not expose in public, not required. It's inside organization. Okay. Second, the enable self-service registration, that option is not enabled by default. I will not recommend it. Do not enable it. Third, once you log in, quick link you have, right? Create identity, or you can go for custom quick link to create the identities. I would not recommend this even. Have a proper process. Keep every employee in your HR system, whether it's an internal employee or from outside, doesn't matter. Clear? That's my recommendation, or I would say that is the correct process.
Okay, got it.
Good. All right, moving on. Now I believe you understood what is application object, what is link or account object. Okay, so we have seen about identities. Now let's write code on link and application objects. Okay, so now if I have shown you my application object here, in the UI, you can see the same data in debug in an XML format. So if we go to debug page, application is the object name here. You see, it will display all the applications you have. Okay. So whatever the configuration you have done in the UI, that object will be shown here in the debug page. If you are enough expert, let's say that I want to create another application. I want to create one more application, a duplicate of this application. Okay, either I can go to UI and I can I can create with same configuration, or I can copy paste this data. Copy this, close, select action new. I can paste the data, but one thing is I need to remove the IDs. Everywhere IDs I have to clean up. That's it. It will create another application. If you want to duplicate it, let's say if I go to application, too bad that there is no option here that hey, duplicate this, but maybe dangerous. People might do a lot, duplicates unnecessary. So, but yeah, anyone will do, right? Anyone who doesn't have knowledge on IAQ or SailPoint, they will also do the duplication of this application. That's why it's not recommended. So from the back end, you can copy the definition and you can click. So if you do not select application, it doesn't know which object it is, the object type I mean. So since I already selected application as the object here, now if I click select action and click new, then it is going to say object editor application. And here I'm going to paste all the XML. I should not save this because its IDs are there. Remove all the IDs, multiple places you have IDs, and then click save. It will create one more application. Okay, so even you can see accounts as well, I believe. Yeah, link. See, these are the all accounts I have. How many? 1044 are there. If I go to my HRMS accounts, I have what? 1031 plus Netflix. I have 13. So 1044 total. Those are all accounts are displayed here. Okay, you can see all the accounts as well. Now let's see how you can write coding on this and what you can do, So let's jump into the rule. I believe now you understood what is an application object, what is a link object. Okay. Now let's write some coding on these two objects and try to understand how they are interrelated to each other. I'll go for some main-identity last time I created. Ooh. Oh, okay. Main-get identity. I changed it. Fine. I'm gonna create a new rule, main-link, or let's say application object first. I really like this refresh icon. I do not need to reload the entire page. What if I reload entire page? See, if I click refresh here, I do not need to change again my object type and the search keyword to filter out the objects displayed here, right? What will happen if I click reload page? I will lose this selections. See, gone. Again, I have to type rule main. Right? It's waste of time, disturbance. So yeah, you might think, some of you might be wondering, like, it's just a couple of seconds, right? No, when you are in the flow, right, when you are doing the work seriously, and these things will disturb you a lot. Anyway, uh, but this is very nice option. I really wish this is there in identity now as well, SailPoint or ISC, Identity Security Cloud, but you do not find this option. Trust me, Identity IQ is the best ICA tool I have ever worked. Uh, any other tool you can take. I can I'm up for debate as well. What happened to my rule? Oh, sorry, application I created. Fine. So I'm gonna remove this. Yes, Harish.
So yeah, just need your inputs on. You said it's the best, right? But what about the security? Okay, I'm a newbie to this sale point. Okay, so here when you talk about this is the powerful tools when you talk about any IAM solutions, right? We can it's an open gate. Once you get in, anybody can get into this interface. They can go into to the infrastructure and create the accounts or get an elevated access. Okay, I'm just worried about the security. How much secure this product is?
You have experience in other IA products,
Not much.
or you are new to IA?
I'm into infrastructure, but I'm new to the IAM.
Okay. Okay, I'll give it to Krishna Kaundinya. Before that, there is one thing. What you can do when you access the application, it doesn't need to be about IAM. Anywhere you take, even infrastructure side, let's say Terraform is there, IAC coding, or anything application you take, there are two basic things. Or okay, Amazon is there. You have access to Amazon application. Can you do anything in Amazon? Or only you can access as an end user and there are administrators outside? That's the difference. Any application you take, there are many categories, but I can say at least two things. One is normal user or end user, another one is administrator. You cannot do anything what you want to. So you do not need to worry about security here. Yes, Krishna Kaundinya.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I think, yeah, that helps a lot. What I think Harish is asking about the security of the specific products which maintains the user data, right, Harish?
Yes, correct.
Right. So when we talk about these products, right? So it's always the risk-based approach. You highlighted the right point. So when we are onboarding a SaaS platforms, yes, we always go through the information security governance due diligence and then onboard these applications. So talking when talking about the IAM framework or IAM um, products, it's always the same. There's a lot of due diligence which goes through security measures, controls, information security controls, everything which will be aligned, not just specific to the IAM tools, also for all SaaS solutions. Hence, yes, classifying the data, how the data privacy has been measured and managed and classified, that's where considering all these factors, all the SaaS solutions are implemented or onboarded. Now, coming about these specific tools of IAM again, yes, it's more majorly classified at highly defined secured applications. So only when the product says yes, we are a marketing leader, example SailPoint, yes, they go a lot of security. They take a lot of security measures and controls in place. Hence, they are considered as marketing leaders and also valued by their business. So that's why they are pretty expensive. Hope it helps you understand.
Yeah. So an additional question on that. So here SailPoint is not storing any of the like vault or any of the vaults or any of the PAM solution. It's not, it's just an interface. It communicates with the backend Active Directory and creates the users as required. Is that the correct statement?
Yep.
Okay.
That's right. Yes. Manages. Yeah.
We can think that like a bulk load or like, okay, create onboarding the users, right? Simplifying the onboarding users.
Yes, that's
Yes,
right.
it's kind of, yes, correct. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think considering the other audience's interest, so we need to park these questions because it's deviating our topics. Um, you can wait at the end. You can ask these questions if you are interested to learn, but I need to continue about the coding part here. Anyway, yeah, we can discuss these questions a bit later. So coming back to the topic here, guys. Last session we discussed about identity. This is the package you have imported, SailPoint.object.identity. Similarly, if you are working on application, you need to use the package application, SailPoint.object.application. Okay, so or you can go and quickly use SailPoint.object.star so that all the objects in SailPoint can be loaded, but this is not a right approach. So what will happen is when this program or this rule gets executed, it will load the libraries. Okay, so this I don't want to go in detail about everything. So you have in your server or in your computer, RAM memory will be there, cache memory will be there. Even though it's not about your hard disk, the memory you have in your computer, right? So this is about the RAM you have, not ROM. The processing power, how much data it can process in your computer, all that stuff, right? Sometimes you feel like the server is not able to accept any requests. Server is crashed, server is busy, because a lot of things are running there, right? Um, you might be wondering, like in your mobile as well, sometimes heavy applications when you are running, it gets hang because it cannot process that much data, right? So same here, when the program loads, it loads all the objects and it is going to dump everything to your RAM when it is executing or processing unnecessary. You might not feel that as a developer even, but when you go into the backend and look into your CPU monitoring or memories and everything, there you can identify some differences. Okay, I would not recommend you to use star at all, yet I see this in many places. Many places I have worked, many codes I have seen, everywhere I have seen this star. I would not recommend. I'll give an example in your personal life. If you are going on vacation, let's say trekking, will you take, or just say 2 3 days of vacation, will you take all your clothes, all your accessories? No, right? Unnecessary weight. It will slow you down. You will take what you need. Similarly, if you want to do correct way of programming, take what you need. Do not load star. That's a very bad practice. Okay, so people, they want to be in safe side. They do not want to miss any object in the in the imports libraries, and they use star so that nothing will be missed. But it's wrong. Okay, so always use what you need. Okay, so now this is the package, and you can build the application object just like identity object. So how did we build the identity object? By using two methods, like go by ID or go by name. These are the two methods we have discussed. Context dot get object by ID or context dot get object by name. Any method you can use. Similarly for application object as well. This is not meant for identity object. It is same everywhere. Okay. So if you understand these two methods, if you have done practice, you can pretty much use for other objects as well. So now I'm going to write for application. Application app. It's better to write like this: app object equal to context dot get object by name. So now you need to pass what, or let me write it down. Identity id object equal to context dot get object by name. This is what we have discussed. So what is the class name you passed? Or identity dot class. And then you have set identity name in double quotes as, let's say, 101010, something like this, right? So why do you need to write this code like this? Understanding is, or knowing the syntax is different, and understanding it is different. I hope I still might have database here. Yeah, so this is my database. I logged into my database. So here, use, let's say, show databases. So when you install SailPoint, right, Identity IQ, you have what is the process for installation? Of course, you need an application server, Tomcat. A database is required. MySQL is highly used for practice. In real world, Oracle is good. Highly used is Oracle SQL in the uh, real-time implementations. Okay, so I use MySQL in practice because Oracle asks for licenses, creating account, all that. That's why Oracle was free of cost for personal uses. They're slowly making it as licensed, even for personal uses. So in the organization, even for personal uses, it is not free. It's not about using in the project. It is using for your personal practice in the office computer. It's not free anymore. So they might make in personal computers as well, not free of cost. I do not want to use them. That's why I'm going out of Oracle. I don't use Oracle Java. I use OpenJDK. That's why I requested all of you to go with OpenJDK. I have given that software as well to you guys. Similarly, this MySQL I use. So here you have loaded the queries, the database you got from SailPoint, right? All the queries. So it created databases and tables. So now you need to understand what it is. For example, if I go to Identity IQ database, show tables, 225 tables are there. So every table name starts with SPT underscore. SPT. Most, the squads are meant for the schedules. So SPT, you can see short for sale point. And if you see SPT underscore identity, we discussed about it, right? Identity. Okay. Now, if I go here, go to identity warehouse, identity warehouse, you see 1,000 records, right? This data is there in database. This is just an interface UI, right? It is reading the data from this table. So SPT underscore identity. So select, I don't want to say star. It will pull all the columns. Let's say ID from SPT underscore identity. See 1,037 rows. Some extra rows are there. How come? 5 extra rows. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see that later. This identity is only displayed here. If I want, I can get one more column, select ID, comma, first name. Yeah, there are some duplicates. Fine. So this is how the data is stored in the database. Same thing is displayed in UI. Proper, in a better way. Of course, any application you take in the world, it is what, right? Everything will be stored in the database. Every application you take, doesn't matter. Yeah, that's correct. Maybe. Yeah. So every application you take in the world, it's the same structure. End of the day, it is stored in the database. You need a fancy user interfaces to read the data, display properly. That's it. Okay. If you want to go back to this kind of stone age in the IT, it's easy. Everything is database administrator only. But it's not going. It's going to slow you down. All administrative work manual. So that's why. So anyway, point is This is the data. And now if I wanted to see the data in database, I've mentioned like select columns from spt underscore identity. So I have told the MySQL that, hey, I need data from this table. Similarly, when you are dealing with the coding part, you need to tell that, hey, context means connection to the database. Context is always connected to the database. So you can query the data from database. That is the purpose of context. So from the context, I'm telling like get object, get main object. Okay, which object it is? By name. Okay, I'll tell you the name. Okay, fine. Which type of object it is and what is the name of the object? Because there can be same objects with same name. I mean, different objects with same name, I mean, is it a possibility? I don't want to rule out that possibility. There might be an identity and there might be an application with the same names. Possibility might be there. So why to have that ambiguity? Instead, say that object name, say the object type and the name of the object. Okay, so that is how this is same as select star from spt underscore identity, and this is a where class if you know SQL. So this is same as select all the columns from the table identity where name equal to, this is the query, equivalent query. Similarly for application as well. So for application, there is an table called spt underscore application. Select id comma name from spt underscore application. See, I got the two applications. So I have mentioned the columns and the table name. Yeah, you can say where clause as well. Where name equal to HRMS. I got only HRMS. The relevant query in the Java is context.get object by name application dot class. What is the app name? It's a HRMS. Okay, so now if this will pull me entire object, I can return, and if I run this, yeah, I got entire object. Some of you might be wondering, why do I need to write this code on application object? Why do I need this? You need to wait for that. You will get into that use cases where you really need it. First, we need to understand, right, how to part, um, how to get this. Later, we will come to know where you are going to use this, right? Just wait for some time. Okay, this is how you are going to get the application, or you are going to build the application. Okay, there are bunch of methods are available in the application object as well, but I don't see a real-time usage of them. So if you go to SailPoint dot object, I really hate this interface. It's so good in our previous versions. So you can see application. These are the methods you have. Okay, clone method is there. Clone this object, copy. You need to wait for some more time to understand these methods, but in case if you want to do anything on this, you can use these methods. Okay, so most of the work you do, if you need to understand the product knowledge in order to understand this coding knowledge. So I cannot explain a couple of things here. Whatever the stuff you do in the user interface, the same thing you can do using coding as well. Okay, so now moving on to link object. So what is the or I'll type I'll show some more here. Just hang on for a second. I'm gonna create link object. I mean link rule. So let's see. So in order to get a link, you need to understand what is a link object, right? So link is nothing but an identity's account on an application, right? So I'm gonna import SailPoint dot object dot what I'm talking about link object link. So let me explain plain link object before going to that actual way of getting links. So if I go to my link object or all the links here, right? So this is the link ID. Okay, so context link object equal to context dot get object by ID link dot class, then pass the ID, return link object, then save it. The link object, the same link object you have seen it here, right? The same link object, I have printed it here. Okay, what is development here? I mean, what is the developer role? Whatever you can do through UI, you should be able to do through coding as well. There are some works you cannot do through UI. Whatever the work you are doing through user interface, that is an administrative work, support and administrative work. Whatever you do through coding, you are referred as developer or SailPoint developer, right? Some works you cannot do through UI, some works can be better automated, right? It will take more time for you to do manually, but we will automate those stuff. What are those stuff? Wait for some time. Okay, so this is the link object we have printed. I have given the ID. What if I don't give the ID? This is actually not the real-time usage of the link object. Okay, so let me comment it out. How to comment? Multi-line comment, single line comment, slash slash, multi-line comment, slash star, and then reverse star slash. So basically you will come to know an identity. So I'll give you a real-time requirement. Hey, I'll give you an identity. I need you to find what are the accounts user has, which all applications user has account in or access to other applications. So how will you find it out? You can go to identities, identity warehouse, open this identity, go to application accounts. You see what all the accounts user has access. Yeah, done. You have done the work. You can copy these names or copy the data and then give it to the one who asked you. What if I give you 1,000 identities? What if I give you 10,000 identities? How long it will take for you to copy paste? That is where the programming works. Okay, so the same work, don't think that even if you can do through UI, why do I need to have coding? Don't go to that situation. You might be able to do through UI, but I'm not going to ask you as one identity or small thing. I might be asking you for a big data, bulk amount of data. Okay, so now I am gonna give you an identity which is string ID name equal to my identity 1002. Okay, I need you to find what are all the accounts this user has. Okay, so for that, you need to build the identity object first. How will you build? Syntax identity id object equal to context dot get object by name, and then pass the class name or the table name, id name. But you forgot to import this identity here, so I'm gonna import. Some of you should be wondering that, hey, you do not need, you are talking about identity only. Why do you have link and application? Yes, definitely. You do not need these two libraries, but wait for a couple of minutes. I need them. That's why I didn't delete them. SailPoint dot object dot identity. Okay. Now I have the identity object. So let's say for time's sake, let's say return ID object. Is this correct? Do you have this identity or not? Let's try. Save link says something. Class capital C I used. Okay. Where?
Object. SailPoint object dot identity. O should be small.
Yep. Thank you. Save. Run. I got the identity object. So if you look at this identity object, let me copy this. Okay, if you look here, you see the links object. So this identity object contains links, nothing but accounts. So how I don't want entire object. I mean, all the data I do not need. I just want to know what are all the links user has. So now I'm gonna say, or if you can go back to the method here, what are all the methods available? Of course, I remember, but if you are a newbie, how will you check that? Go to identity. So you should have a method here, get links. Okay, so get get yeah, see, there are a bunch of methods for the link object. Get links. It will give you all the links user has, but it is a list. No, user will have more than one link, right? So now I'm gonna write and we'll remove this. I can write like this one, return id object dot get links. Save, run. It will give me all the list of link objects. Okay, so what if I would like to find it out? I don't want the entire object. I just want name of the link. Okay, there might be a better method. We will check that, but how you can process this? Let's say a list link or better account list. Anything you can use, link list or account list, that's fine. Now I have this. Now I'm gonna write for each. So what is the object you have in account list? Link object. So you have to say link to account list. Then I'm gonna write as, let's say I'll declare what is our requirement. I wanna get what are all the applications user has account in, right? So I'm gonna say, let's say app name list equal to new or a list. So I'm gonna add this uh, link object, or fine, I'm gonna write like this, system dot out dot println. Link is there, right? Link dot. Of course, I remember, so I'll show you. Get application name. Okay, hope my syntax is correct. Let's run this. Let's see any exceptions. Yes, unknown class, error list, spelling problem, my bad. Okay, still exceptions. What is this? Parse exception at line 18. Fine. Where? Line encountered. Okay, line number 18. 21. There is no for each in its PowerShell. Cool. Executed. And now if I go to my Tomcat server, see HRMS and Netflix is printed. Okay. Now if I mean, how will I know this? I mean, I don't want to print like this. Then I'm going to add it to app name list dot add return app name list. So you got the output. I mean, we can format it into a better way like this. Let's say, for example, if you have many identities, then you can write like this as if you want to make it as a CSV kind of data, we can say like identity name, comma, list of applications, like that. You know, we can have that formatted like however you want. But that's more of core Java logic. We will build it in coming days. But I believe you understood a little bit here. I've used I didn't use application yet, but I have used link object. I extracted all the links of the user, identity object dot get links. I iterated all the link objects, and then I returned the application name list. Okay, so I mean, it is really required not just for reporting purpose, or if you need to know whether a user has account in that application or not. Sometimes you need to create an account for the user programmatically, then before creating, you need to know whether user has account in that application or not. Okay, I'm gonna show you one. I'll park this aside. I'm gonna show you one rule. No, let's see. I hope you are getting. If I go to my identities, what is my HR application? I was explaining to you guys. That is, it's a JDBC. I connected using JDBC. People who are not from SailPoint background or who is not able to understand the terminologies I'm saying, write it down. I'll explain everything. Even though you do not know about SailPoint, it's okay. I'll explain in simple words. Write it down the terminologies, no issues. But try to understand the requirement here or what I'm trying to achieve here. That's what important. All right. If you understand the soul of what we are doing, it's very easy. Okay. So now if I look into my identity, I do not have a display name attribute. First of all, I do not have display name here. So how to add display name? Go to debug configuration objects. Before that, let's go to list of identity attributes, global settings, identity mappings. I have display name attribute. What is the attribute name? Display name. Now I'll go to UI configuration, view. Again, I forgot. What is the key for identity view attributes? This is where So what are all the attributes? This is referred as identity cube. Identity cube. It's beautiful in SailPoint. Maybe other products or other vendors might have also have a display like this. But SailPoint is the first one. Identity IQ is the first one who built like this nice interface. You can see everything about an identity, every data of an identity right here. Now, if you look at here, all the attributes are not there. Display name is missing. So, yep, I'm gonna add this. And then save. If I reload my page, yeah, display name is there. Come on, I didn't give the display name. I didn't calculate the display name, but still it is giving the value. I didn't give the mapping. Looks like it's a default one. I didn't give the mapping even. Source mapping means how it will get the data. For example, email, I have given the source mapping. Okay, I have given the source mapping that, hey, read email attribute from this application, HRMS, from this application, like this. But for display name, I didn't give. It's really new to me. I didn't work in 8.4 or 8.5. It is looks like it is calculating by default with first name and last name. If you are still working in Identity IQ, you might know this. I left it a couple of years back. Okay, so anyway, I really wanted to show you how to calculate display name. Fine. It is calculating automatically, keeping that aside. Let's say that if it won't calculate, how you are gonna calculate. So if I look at my HR application, application definition, HRMS. If I go to configuration schema, you see my attributes. I do not have display name attribute. First name is there, middle initial, last name, preferred first name, but I do not have display name here. This is a common requirement. Okay, so display name is not there. You get first name, you get last name, you get middle name or middle initial, but you will not have display name from HR system. That's quite common. Okay, so you need to calculate display name in your SailPoint. I see that display name, we use it to all the applications. For example, your Teams, your Outlook, or any different applications, your name will be displayed, right? How we manage that data. So how will you calculate this display name? You already have first name and you have last name. Concatenation, right? Simple. Now, if I go to add source here, I do not have attribute here. I do not have attribute so that I can use display name here. When you do not have the attribute, we go for rule. So which application, global rule, it's a difference is there between these two, application rule and global rule, performance wise. So let's go with application rule. I will explain about the other option as well, but hang on for a while. Select HRMS and rule. I'm gonna click three dots. I'll just create a rule. Just I don't like this user interface, this rule editor. I really don't like. It's okay to write here, but I don't like it. So I'll show you in a different way. So I'm gonna write here as I forgot the rule naming conventions in IQ. Fine. Display name. Let's say calculate display name identity rule. Save. Now you have this rule. Add, then save. Okay, so now if I go to my debug page, rule is created. So far you have seen generic rules. These are generic rules. You will not see type equal to generic even because it's default one. But and you do not see any inputs even here, or you don't see anything else other than source tag, right? Now if I go back to my identity rule, you see here bunch of data created automatically, and this is the source tag, right? This is where your actual logic will go on. Now, if you try to understand this, you do not need to worry about these two. Automatically will be there, XML types or doc type. Now, rule created, you know about these things, language, Wenzel, name. The type, if you see identity attribute type, I mentioned in identity IQ, there are 17 categories. I'm again, I'm repeating, I worked till 8.0 in SailPoint identity IQ. After that, I didn't work. I moved to identity now. There might be some changes, not a lot. For example, I was showing you right in MySQL. When I was my first SailPoint version was identity IQ 7.3. My my project was in 7.2, but I was practicing in 7.3. That was the latest version, and I counted everything. And if you go up little, or if I say show tables, it shows 225. If I remember correctly, 7.3, 200 and something 10 or something. But now number of tables are increased because yeah, SailPoint versions are changing. They get better, right? They add new features, so tables also increased. Okay, so similarly, I do not know. Maybe you can cross check. So the category of rules are 17 type of rules were there. Identity attribute is one type. Okay, certification, that's another type of rules. So different type of rules are there. Identity attribute, since we are calculating the identity attribute, which is display name, so the type is identity attribute rule. What is the purpose of this type? I don't know. I cannot say those things. If I was building this product, I will make it simple. I will say get lost. I don't want this type even. But anyway, this is the structure of SailPoint rule. And you can see every rule, you can see signature. You see the signature tag ending and closing, right? So the signature will include what are the inputs available, what are the outputs you need to return. That's it. I know core Java basics. More than that, I know. Now you also know core Java basics. Now I know little about SailPoint programming. Yeah, I've seen a little. Now writing rules in identity IQ is what development is. Majority of the development is writing the rule. And also we used to refer as, I don't know if it is still there or people call it as, I do not know. Rules are king of development in SailPoint IQ. Most of the things, the development is in rules only. Okay, if you understand rules, if you can develop rules, you are done with coding most of the time. I think I would say 70-80% even. Okay, everywhere we use this rule. So you need to understand what is a rule and how do you write the code in the rule. So it's very simple, no need to complicate, no need to remember much things or by heart the things. You get along this type, no need to stress about it as well. You just need to understand what is the purpose of this rule. That's what important is. Okay, as the name indicates identity attribute, this rule is used for calculating identity attribute. That's it. Okay, and you need to understand what are the inputs you are getting and what are the outputs you are going to, returns means output you need to, the value of the attribute that should be populated. So you need to return an attribute value. That's it. Okay, now inputs, what you are getting, log object you are getting. We didn't discuss about logs. I will explain you in some other session. Context, by default context is available, api.sailPoint context that can be used to query the database if necessary. Okay, but since the context is by default available, you do not need to use this library even to import. Okay, and then argument environment map, hold on, no need. Identity object, for which identity object this is aggregated to, the account is connected to an identity, right? Attribute definition, don't need to worry. Link object, this is what we need. Okay, all other things you do not need. Old value, so it let's say the display name. What is the old value before? Please take a complete class on rules and coming, Krishna, if you do not mind. There is no complete class and rules. Come on, Shahid. It's there are, I told you, 17 categories and 170 or 200 types of rules are there. There is nothing like complete class. You need to learn one by one a rule. Not like everything, but some good amount of rules. And those rules comes into different parts of the SailPoint works. So it's not like that. Okay. But yes, we are going to discuss all the rules. So now you have the link object. By using the link object, you have this first name and last name here. If you go to accounts, you have first name and you have last name. What if I concat both of them and I'll return the rule, display name. So like this, string first name equal to link dot get string attribute. How do I know whether it's a string attribute or not? Okay, don't know that. Go to this object. Now I have this C. I'm again repeating account object, right? So for this identity, display name, I'm repeating. There is an out of the box functionality that is calculating first name and last name. So you got it, but I wanted to show you this use case. You can use it for other purposes. Okay, if you need to calculate an attribute that is not coming from HR system. So how you are going to calculate? Okay, so I'm gonna use, maybe this is the better way. Display name is there. I'm gonna remove this rule, delete sources, save. I'm gonna create a new attribute, full name, display name. You can use full name like this, save. So I'm gonna not use display name, but I'll use this full name. Okay, so I'm gonna add source application rule, select the HRMS, select the rule, add, save it. Okay, now I'm gonna copy this full name attribute. I will I'll remove this display name in the identity configuration. No, oh, it shouldn't be displayed. So I'll remove display name. I'll add full name. Save. Now you do not have full name, so I believe now you will not have any confusion. So for full name, I'm gonna calculate now and show you the output. Okay, so here in the rule, so our requirement is I have the link object, I have first name and last name, and I need to calculate display name by concatenating both of them. Okay, so now if I go to my link object, link SailPoint.object.link, and if you look at the methods, get attribute, I need to get the attribute. You remember we have discussed in last session from identity how to get the attributes. Identity dot get attribute, we use that method. Same method you can use in link as well, but I want to cross check what are the method. Do you have get attribute or not here? Get attribute and then passing the name of the string, it is there. There is another method, get string attribute as well. No, it used to be there. Let me check. Get string attribute. No, it's not there. Fine, I'll use get attribute only. Okay, so now what would have happened? Now I am a bit old in identity IQ world. So what if I would have used get string attribute? Maybe it would throw an exception. Then I will say like, hey, why it is not working? Maybe something is changed. Now I'll go to this Java doc object. I'll check the method. I'll see, hey, it's not there. Fine. Why do I care about string attribute? I have get attribute method. That is more than enough for me. right? I'm going to use get attribute. I'm going to pass the attribute name. That is enough for me, right? So I'm going to write get attribute. I mean, this is how you're supposed to write the code. I can tell you the answer right away, but that's not what we are going to do, right? Trust me, no one is going to remember all these methods. It's impossible. Okay, we are not machines to load everything, reading the memory or something. No, no, no. Even machines can't remember. They have the database, so they'll go and check and get the data. So don't think like that. Do not try to remember everything. Okay, even though I have written identity IQ programming many years back, still I remember because of the practice or because of the usage in the real-time works. Okay, you will also get that. Don't worry. Don't try to memorize anything. No, 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 no. Keep practicing, you will get that. Okay, so now if I go back to my account object, so I have first name, first underscore name, last underscore name. Those are the attributes. Now I'm gonna write first underscore name. Okay, similarly string last name equal to link dot get attribute last underscore name. Okay, now I have first name and last name, right? And I'm gonna calculate string full name, display name, your wish, anything you can write. So concat first name plus last name. If I use like this, and then I'm going to say return, I need to return string value, attribute value. So return full name. But you need to remember, if I concat this, there should be a space, right, between first name and last name. So I'm going to write, okay. So you need to understand the display name formats. Some organizations, they use first name space last name. Some organizations use last name comma space first name. I really hate this format. I really hate this format. This is good. Okay, it depends. You need to ask your organization. Again, if I am the decision maker in the organization, I'll go with what I feel. I'm not that stupid to say bad things as good things. So I know. So it's not about the practices, industry practices. It is about, we have natural intelligence, you and me. We need to use that as well. How come it looks good? You tell me. Do I call you with your last name, comma first name? No, it's really not at all a good one. I don't like this. Maybe you can like, we can debate about, that's a different story, but I like this. But again, it's not about what you like or I like. It's about following the organization standards, what they decide. Sometimes it will be good, sometimes it will be bad. After all, you and me are employees. We have to follow. If you are in a power to decide or make decisions, yeah, that's good. Then we can talk about it. Okay, so you need to know about the display name format in your organization. Even in I worked on it, like earlier it was like this, and I got a requirement like, hey, this is not at all a good standard, last name and comma first name. Krishna, can you change it to first name and last name like this? For entire organization, I rolled out that change. Technically small change, but when you look at the scope of the user, it's a lot. Entire organization we are changing. That is small thing. Okay, so now I have added this space, first name space last name, and I'm returning full name. So I'll save it. Done. My rule is applied to, if I go back to my identity attributes, so like full name, rule is applied, and then full name is displayed here. Now, how do you get the value for this? You can run, it can be different. Now go to setup, tasks. Now you go to HRMS account aggregation tasks. You do not need to open and save and execute every time. You just say right click and execute in background. Okay, now if I go to task results, it will be running. It won't take much time. It did run. Do I need to run refresh task? I think so, but let's see whether it will work or not. No, it didn't work. Okay, now I'm gonna run refresh task. You should see in SailPoint identity now. I don't need to run all these things. So I'm running refresh task. Let me open this. Do I have the options enabled? Cross refresh. Refresh identity attributes. Yes, this is enabled. Good. Did it complete? Still going on. You can see the track or status of the users getting refreshed. The task management is very good in IAQ. I didn't know it's still not good. Hope they will add in coming. I don't know how long it will take for them. Okay. Let me see at least if this identity. Yeah, see, full name is calculated. Now, did you understand what is the purpose of rule? I have shown you only one use case, but at least there is one use case. The same thing we do in identity now also, but we do not use rules anymore. Instead, we use transform. We use transform. If it is okay, I'll quickly show you same thing how we will do in SailPoint. I don't know. Let me log into my identity now. Almost there. So this is my identity now. If I go to identity management, identity profile. So now if I take you to here, we need to define, right? Identity mappings. So this is where you define. So you have list of identity attributes, right? You have list of identity attributes. These attributes are there for every identity. Okay, every identity in your organization will have all the attributes. Some attributes will have the data, some attributes will not have the data, depends. Okay, so for every attribute you are going to define the source mappings. Let's say that this user doesn't have a HRMS account. Let's say that this user is a non-employee. They get data from some other application. You can add another source. Let's say I do not have that. I'll show you in coming sessions, non-employees as well, how it works. It will work in priority. So first this one, second, third, like that. So priority will be there. So first it will check if user is getting data from HRMS or not. If it is not getting, it will go to next application. If there is no data in that application, it will go to next. Like that priority it will get. Okay. So similarly in identity now, it is a bit different. So here identity attributes are there and you are going to define the mappings. But in identity now, we are going to create identity profiles for each and every HR source. Okay, so if I go to non-employees, for example, I don't have any data. Let's say as admin. So I told you, right? So I told you, if you go to how do you create identities in Identity IQ? So you create an so you create a task, account aggregation task. By default, you do not have account aggregation task. You have to create, but in IdentNow, you do not need to create. When you create the source, by default, it will have account aggregation task in it. So when you see the account aggregation task here, you have the option we discussed just now. Only create links if they can be correlated to existing identity. This option decides whether it is an authoritative application or not. We create identities from authoritative application only. So how will SailPoint understand that, hey, I have when I aggregate, accounts are created. Fine. After accounts are created, identities has to be created based on the data from the account. That is what we said right in the identity attribute mapping, correct? For identity attributes, we have given the mapping. Once the aggregation is done, then the identities has to be created from the accounts. So it reads the data from the accounts. So okay, every time when you run the aggregation, it will create the accounts, fine. But do I need to create identities? That is depends on this option. But I told you that we are humans, we do mistakes. We are tend to do the mistakes because of a lot of things, you know. So it's quite common. It's quite normal. But relying on one simple checkbox is not a good idea, right? Creating identities are not relying on just a simple checkbox, which is prone to make mistakes, right? So IS is way better. Whenever you create an authoritative application, HR application, or where you get the identities, we create a identity profile for that. If you see, this source is this one. So whichever identities accounts are there in this source, it will create identities. And then you have mapping. You have identity attributes here. So every identity profile, you can create identity profile as many as you have HR applications. Let's say employees, non-employees, contractors, vendors, different types, if different applications. For every application where you have identities, for every application you create an identity profile. So by default, when you run the aggregation on that source, you have identity profile for that source. So identities will be created. It's a big thing, right? Creating identity profile. It is better compared to the checkbox. Okay. So their identity attributes are centric, single identity attribute where you have the mappings. Here it is scattered, distributed. So you have, what can I say? Um, Identity profile, everywhere the attributes will be there and you have the mappings by reading the data from this application ISA admins. Okay, similarly you have display name here. Yeah, display name. So in case if you do not get the display name here, you need to build, in case if you do not get display name from the HR system or your authoritative source, we need to calculate the transform. So how will you calculate the transform? So if I go, I'll show you developer.sailpoint. So you see concatenation transform. If you look at this, see, and I'll pull the rule as well, what I have written. Oh, come on. I want to go back to the text. Fine, this is okay. Now, if you look at this transform and if you look at the rule we have done, so what we have got the first name, we have got the last name, and then we concatenated like this. Similarly, this is a heavy coding, Java. This is a JSON structure, and this is a lightweight coding, or not lightweight exactly. It's called as low coding solutions. Okay, so JSON you can write, it's a simple instruction like you give it to the robot, right? So if you see, the type is concat transform, the name of the transform. Yeah, obviously you have, right, the name of the rule, and you have the type, and the rule type you do not give, but it's automatic. Similarly here, when you create the transform, you have to tell what is the type of the transform, which is concat. It does only concat, nothing else it will do. You cannot write some other logic here. If you say concat, you have to say that you have to write the logic for concatenation only, no other choice. Okay, so here I have used concatenation like plus, right? Adding the variables. I can do something else. I do not need to write concat only. It's just Java code. Anything I can write. But here it's limited. You have to write concat only. So anyway, name and type of the concat, and what are all values you are concatenating. So first value is array of values. So first value is account attribute, which source, HR source, and first name. Similarly, account attribute, HR source, last name. And since it is a contractor, they have given space as well. If they are contractor, you can add this, or you can remove this as well. Which one easy for you guys? I really like this, not this. This is lengthy. This is good. Easy, if you always go for easy, there are consequences. The difficult things are way better than easier things. Trust me. If it is easy, anyone can do. If it is easy, the chances of highly mistakes. If it is difficult, not everyone can do. And if it is difficult, we do carefully and less chances of having mistakes. So I go with difficult things, not easy things. But anyway, that's different discussion all along. So now, guys, don't tell me that I know identity IQ. I don't know. I don't know. Do not tell me that. I cannot accept it. If you can't write the code like this, can't you write this? What is this? This is very easy compared to this. You need to understand the structure. That's it. It's a concatenation transform. By default, you should understand what is a concatenation means. Adding values, adding string values, or adding some data. Not just in Java, not just in SailPoint. Anywhere in the world, concatenation means what? Adding the data. That's it. Okay, you said concat. Now you need to give the values, right? So that it will concat. So it's array of values. So that's why this array brace is there. And you need to declare the values. Right? So you cannot hard code the values like this. Example they have given, see here, John Smith. You cannot hard code because it has to calculate for each identity. So it's a dynamic coding. We will we will read the data from HR source first name. The same thing we get link as the account. Here you are reading account attribute. That's another type of transform. Here we are saying link object. Link is nothing but account object. From the account we are getting get attribute first name. What you are doing here? Same thing, right? Account attribute from the source HR system and the attribute name first name. Both are same. Okay, this is how we write in a both are same. Identity IQ is Java. There has been a lot of complaints all over the world that hey, it's Java. I don't want to write in Java. We are not able to find developers. We want low coding solutions. SailPoint is highly used in the world. It is like Apple. It is like Apple in IAM. Okay, so but there are some complaints about SailPoint from the customers that hey, it needs a lot of development. Now we are not able to find developers. So we do not want to use this product. We want to use other product which is not needing much coding. They will automate everything. There is not so good thing here that thinking now SailPoint I don't know is a low coding solution. They say like you do not need to write much coding. It is very easy. We automated everything. But you are giving it's kind of monopoly. They will develop, they will do the automations and they will ask you to follow that. It's not a good thing at all. We can talk about it later, but not now. Anyway, so this is how it is written in identity now. This is how it is written in identity IK for the same requirement. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to quickly show you one last thing and we can wrap it for the day. So why did I create application object? What is the purpose of it? So if I go back to link object, or I mean identity object, where is identity? So identity dot get links. We have got all the links, right? What if I want to get only one link from an application, right? So you can pass get link and then you can pass application in it. So if I go back to my link object code, I have created an application. Okay, I'll create another application. So application app object equal to context.get object by name application.class. Now I have app object identity. Instead of getting list account list, I'm gonna comment this. So link object equal to identity dot get link, and I need to pass the application object. Now return link object. Okay, save and run in hyphen. Something wrong I did. Identity. Okay, I used ID object, not identity. Come on. Why? Because I use ID name which doesn't exist. Let's say HRMS. Okay, I got the link object. So if you want to get all the links associated, you can just say get links method. If you want to get a particular application link of the user, you can pass the app object. I believe this method, I heard like this method is um, deprecated, but I still see this method now in the latest version. Maybe they brought it back. I do not know, but fine. Anyway, so if you want to get all the links, get links. If you want to get a particular link, and then you can pass app object. Maybe there are some more methods to pass the application object, but instead you can pass, get link and link ID you can pass. Get link application object and identity name of that. Yeah. Oh, these are deprecated. Sorry. Yes, this is deprecated. You cannot use. Yeah, might not perform well. Fine. You should not use this. You need to go that other way only. Okay. Oh yeah. When it is deprecated, all are deprecated. Fine. We used to use this earlier, but not anymore. You have to go with non-deprecated methods, which is get links. Yeah, get links is not deprecated. So I believe you understood my point. You should not use deprecated methods, use non-deprecated methods. But how the application object will help you, I mentioned this. Now, basically, an example here, how those three objects are interlinked. Identity, application, link. You understood a little bit, some use case here. First, I got identity name. Then I built identity object. I have built application object, and then I got link object for the identity. By passing the application object, I got link object. See how these objects are interlinked. If you understand like this, every object, for example, role is collection of entitlements, not role bundle object. Role is collection of entitlements. If you want to get a user roles, there are methods. Get assigned roles, so get bundle summary, Bundle means role. Technical name for role is bundle. Um, get active roles, get assigned role summary. It will give you all the roles assigned to the user. So like this, you need to understand how the, for example, if you look at the identity cube, you pretty much can get any of the data here associated with the identity. If something is not associated with the identity, you cannot get it. So you need to understand, the structure of the product for every object and how they are interlinked each other. If you understand that, this is how we write the code. Okay, this is what coding is in SailPoint. Display name I have shown you, that's one use case. Okay, so you get the input. So what every time I do is I was also struggling to write coding in SailPoint, even though I was certified in Java, because I couldn't understand the structure. It took a while for me to understand, and I understood that, oh, that's it. SailPoint rules is nothing but understanding what are the inputs, understanding what is the output you have to write. That's it. Why do you need the rule? You need to know the purpose. You go for rule because something is missing. You are not having it. We went for rule because display name was not there. That is the requirement. So you need to know the requirement. At least if you know what you need to achieve, then we will discuss about how you can achieve it, right? So first you need to understand what you need to achieve. And then rule comes majority of the places. Always what I do is I understand my inputs. What is the output I need to write? And here the main input is link object. Okay, that you get through expert, right? And then, yeah, I'm lost for a couple of seconds. So I was telling, the main input you need to understand, this log, context, these are common inputs. Every rule it will be there. Don't worry about them, ignore. So you need to understand the inputs. Sometimes, I do not know what it has even. Sometimes I do not go to Java doc even. What I do is I just print what I have. Core Java basics, that's good. Now, if you have the inputs, let's say that what are all the inputs I have? I have link object. I'll print the link object. How do you print? System.out.println link.toXML. How do you print an object? I just shown you. Okay, close. Yeah, if I go back to my link object. So how do you print an object? To XML. It looks like it's not mandatory anymore. Earlier we used to say to XML mandatory. So you can print the object like this. When you print the object, you see entire data. Okay, this is where the data is there. I need to get this data, that data, and then concat it. That's it. Okay, so the rule main thing is understanding the requirements. Second is what are the inputs you have, what is the output you need to write. And now majority of the places, identity, link, application, these three objects are highly used. You need to understand these three and how those are interlinked each other. Okay, some more ways of codings are there, like so far you have seen like I'm getting entire object. Why do I need to get entire object? I don't need entire object. How can I limit my results to only some attributes? Okay, what if I have thousands of users? How can I write the coding? So bulk coding, I mean bulk processing, bulk data, that we will see in next week. Okay, but you need to practice all these things. You need to digest what I'm trying to explain here. I'm gonna go faster in coming sessions, guys. How will you understand? Only if you know these basics, otherwise it's difficult. Okay, I'm going a bit slow now so that you can breathe. Coming sessions, it will be very fast. So I request you to practice a lot and try to understand the soul of the SailPoint programming. If you understand, you do not need to learn much.